Welcome to the CEN Show, a platform where we learn from the world community. I'm your host, Roski Mascani, and on the panel this evening we have Professor Amin Ra, Ernest McBride Jr., Brother DX is here. DX haven't been around in a while, but he's here. One of our team members in Atlanta. And brother Ahi. All right. We got our team member, Mr. Hood, with TechTalk today. So he's going to take over, and I'm going to be watching and listening. All right, Brotherhood, welcome, man. Do your thing.
Greetings. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be back. Peace and blessing to everybody on this call and everyone who will watch this on a replay. I'm really excited and honored today to be able to share this valuable information. And this is a very interesting topic. I've been doing some research for the last 9 months on some of this information, and I'm excited to share with you today. So what I wanted to do before I get started is show you a little clip just to kind of set the foundation of where we're going. It's kind of like my reaction. I gave this this talk about a month ago, and so I wanted to react to some of the content, and then I updated some of the content, and just to lay the groundwork. And I am going to be dropping some science tonight, so I'm gonna try to break it down a little bit. And if something is, you know, if a light bulb goes off for some of you guys, and you can break it down a little more for some of the audience, my aim tonight is to basically help others understand really the seriousness of what we're dealing with some of this artificial intelligence and what we learned in 2025.
Hey everyone, Mr. Hood here. Get ready, because the pace of AI innovation is accelerating, and we're breaking down everything you need to know right now.
Welcome to Tech Talk with Mr. Hood. I am Larry Hood, and today is AI Update, what we learned in 2025, and what it means right now. This isn't a hype recap. We're breaking down what's real, what's next, and what skills and decisions actually matter. We'll talk politics, the global AI race, jobs, chips, and even a real case study of an AI-designed drug in trials. Let's jump in. First, I want to start with a question. Quick question. If an AI can sound empathetic, does that mean that it's empathetic? It does not matter. And does that matter for the future we're building? Hold that thought. Let's set the stage.
Away.
Okay, now, before I get started, this gentleman here is the guy who runs Anthropic. He's a president and CEO. This is the World Economic Forum, and he's talking to the guy who started Gemini, Google DeepMind. And I want you to listen to what they're actually talking about when you're talking about taking the human out the loop and how it relates to some of the sciences and some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight.
From when the model is doing most, maybe all of what SWEs do end to end. And then it's a question of how fast does that loop close? Not every part of that loop is something that can be sped up by AI, right? There's like chips, there's manufacture of chips, there's training time for the model. So it's, I think there's a lot of uncertainty. It's easy to see how this could take a few years. It's very hard for me to see how it could take longer than that. Yeah. But if I had to guess, I would guess that this goes faster than people imagine, and that key element of code and increasingly research going faster than we imagine, that's going to be the key driver. It's really hard to predict, again, how much that exponential is going to speed us up.
You Demis were a little more cautious last year. You said a 50% chance of a system that can exhibit all the cognitive capabilities humans can by the end of the decade. Mm-hmm. Clearly in coding, as Dario says, it's been remarkable. Mm-hmm. What is your sense of, do you stand by your prediction? Yes. And what's changed in the past year?
Yeah, look, I think I'm still on the same kind of timeline. I think there has been remarkable progress, but I think some areas of kind of engineering work, coding, also you could say mathematics, are a little bit easier to see how they would be automated. partly because they're verifiable what the output is. Some areas of natural science are much harder to do than that. You won't necessarily know if the chemical compound you've built or this prediction about physics is correct. You may have to test it experimentally, and that will all take longer. So I also think there are some missing capabilities at the moment in terms of like not just solving existing conjectures or existing problems, but actually coming up with the question in the first place, or coming up with the theory or the hypothesis. I think that's much, much harder, and I think that's the highest level of scientific creativity. And it's not clear. I think we will have those systems, so I don't think it's impossible, but I think there may be one or two missing ingredients. It remains to be seen how, first of all, can this self-improvement loop that we're all working on actually close without a human in the loop? I think there are also risks to that kind of system, by the way, which we should discuss, and I'm sure we will. But but that could speed things up if that kind of system does work.
We'll get to the risks in a minute, but one other change, I think, of the past year has been a kind of change in the pecking order of the race, if you will.
Okay, what do we?
All right, so let me go ahead and switch gears here a little bit. So what she mentioned in that, what he mentioned in that was taking a human out of the loop, right? So what I wanted to really discuss tonight is some of the concepts and some of the things that have happened in 2025 that we really a lot of people don't really know about. My goal is to keep the YouTube channel going, playlist on the AI Institute to talk about topics and break some of these concepts down. You can check that out here. And then here are some agents that I created on OpenAI's platform. One in particular, I have hundreds of users on it, called the AP CSP Guru, because I teach a computer science class at early college, and I created this agent several months ago when OpenAI was actually last year, when OpenAI opened the platform to be able to create your custom agents. So I know a little bit about creating agents, coding, all of this, and you can customize a GPT to do whatever you want to do. And so I wanted to share that just so you guys can access that. I got about 4 of them I'm working on. One of them, the APCSP Guru, is one that anybody can use. You can use it to break down some topics, code, or it kind of will explain things for people who are trying to learn. All right, so this slide I got from a researcher in Australia, and it's something that talks to AI versus human intelligence. And so what I started doing when I was really going deep with research on artificial intelligence, I like the fact that this guy was basically just putting out a lot of research from different companies and what they were doing. And so what this shows is AI versus human intelligence. So back in 2022, Microsoft did a study that looked at, the IQ. You see how ChatGPT 4 had an IQ score of 155, and then you have a gifted child at 170. And so what they were doing was testing the large language models and looking at different things. So the paper and the research that I'm talking about here examines moral sensitivity in intelligent children. It looks at parallels about ethical abilities in something called ASI, which stands for artificial superintelligence. And so by highlighting how advanced intellect fosters goodness, it offers reassurance. Smarter systems can lean towards kindness and fairness, easing our fears about AI evolution. That's what Dr. Thompson said. But for me, it seems to me that there's a lot of research that is coming out or that's being introduced that's trying to say that if an AI is super intelligent, that it's going to be more ethical. And so I'll beg to differ. And as you're going to see tonight, it's not really just because an AI is smarter that it means it's going to be more ethical. And so the move towards ASI, what I'm talking about tonight is super intelligence, okay? And what they're trying to do to say that AI is super intelligent. And we're not there yet, but we're going to talk about some topics. And this is just a picture of me when I was doing a generative AI certification for Adobe. Adobe has a platform and a certification that you can get using some of their tools. A lot of these companies have their own different AI platforms. And so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to go into a lot of deep areas dealing with artificial intelligence, and not just talking about making videos and writing papers. Okay, we're gonna look at actually what's happening with generative AI and how that's really affecting our future, really. And so, as far as what I'm talking about with the future of the industry, we have a lot of stuff happening right now. AI is shifting from experimentation to large-scale deployment across all sectors. The media narratives focus on height versus durable value, jobs, skill, and regulation. So the next decade, in my opinion, will be shaped by the compute policy and how fast organizations can adapt. And one of the things that was kind of interesting to me is that when I did a, a talk, I guess last year when I was here, maybe about 9 months ago, a lot of the information that I put about 9 months ago on this topic, they're starting to talk about in the mainstream media. And so it's kind of interesting. So I wanted to just kind of go there. And so this is some of the research that I found about uh, what they were doing and how machines have empathy. And what they were doing was testing some information on a Reddit platform. And basically, they did a research study, and trying to say that ChatGPT has more empathy than a doctor, which I thought was very interesting. And so this is kind of a breakdown of that, and you can look at the link there to the research. And so what was that research? What was it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the abstract here because I do have all of the references, all of the works cited that you can all go back and do some research on. But let me tell you about this research here. So basically, in this cross-sectional study, it was basically a non-identifiable database of questions from a public social media forum. And what it was doing was it was used to randomly draw 195 exchanges in October 2022 where a verified physician responded to a public question about health or healthcare. And so what they did was chatbot responses were generated by entering an original question into a fresh session without prior questions having been asked in the session. So the original question, along with an anonymized, randomly ordered physician and chatbot responses, were evaluated by a team of licensed healthcare professionals. And so what they did was they evaluated what the AI said about health, the questions from the public, and what the actual doctor answered with the question. Okay.